This is the story of the Dover Demon. The Dover Demon is a small humanoid reported from Dover, Massachusetts. It was the subject of an intensive scare during the 1970s. It has a large head on a small stick-like body. It can also be bipedal, but it often travels on all four or switches back and forth between the two modes of locomotions. It has eyes that glow, sometimes orange, sometimes green, and it literally looks just like a gray alien with a bigger, smaller head actually. But so the first sighting, the tale begins at 10:32 p.m. on April 21st as three 17-year-olds, Bill Bartlett, Mike Mazzocca, and Andy Brody, are driving north on Farm Street. Bartlett, who's behind the wheel of the Volkswagen, spots something creeping along a low wall of loose stones on the left side of the road. At first he thinks the image is a dog or cat until his headlights shine on it and he realizes it's nothing like he's ever seen before. The figure slowly turns its head and stares into the light. Its two large, round, glassy, lidless eyes shining brightly like two orange marbles. Its watermelon-shaped head, resting at the top of a thin neck, is the size of the rest of its body, except for its oversized head. The creature is thin, with long, spindly arms and legs, and large hands and feet. The skin is hairless and peach-colored and appears to have a rough texture, like wet sandpaper. Bartlett subsequently tells Lauren Coleman that standing no more than 3.5 to 4 feet tall, the figure was shaped with like a baby's body with long arms and legs. It had been making its way along the wall, and its long fingers curling around the rocks when the car lights surprised it. Unfortunately, neither of the passengers saw the creature. The sighting lasted only a few seconds, and before he could speak, the car left the scene. Then the creature was gone. He dropped his friends off and went to Walpole Street home. Visibly upset, he walked through the door, and his father asked him what's wrong, and he related the story and later sketched what he had seen. Another sighting was reported by 15-year-old John Baxter when he left his girlfriend's house at night at the south end of Miller High Road. Then Baxter started walking up the street on his way home. Half an hour later, he observed someone watching him. Because the figure was short, he assumed it was a friend of his who lived on the street. He called out, and there was no response. Baxter and the figure continued to approach each other until finally the latter stopped. He then halted as well and asked, "Who was that?" The sky was dark and overcast, and he could only see a shadowy form. Trying to get a better look, Baxter takes one step forward, and the figure scurries off to the left, running down a shallow, wooded gully and up the opposite bank. As the figure ran, Baxter heard its footsteps on the dry leaves. He followed the figure down the slope, then stopped and looked across the gully. There, he saw the creature, standing in a silhouette about 30 feet away. Its feet were molded around the top of a rock several feet from a tree. The creature's body reminded Baxter of a monkey's, except for its dark figure-eight-shaped head. Its eyes, two lighter spots in the middle of the head, were looking straight at him, and after a few minutes of this, he began to feel uneasy. Realizing he had never seen such a creature before, and fearing what it might do next, he carefully backed away, and then he ran down the road to the intersection at Farm Street. Then a couple passing a car picked him up and drove him home. People have claimed that this is might have been a lost baby moose. There's other explanations that say it might have been a monkey, a dog, an alien, a mutation, or simply a hoax. Another explanation could be that it was an escaped pet gibbon, where some species of gibbon have orange babies, and white-cheeked gibbons have an orange color in females. It's a very weird cryptid sighting no matter what. I mean, to me, it definitely looks like an alien, but yeah. This has been your host, Luke. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.